using ancient instruments that comes from Africa, tends to get people into a trance-like state. That way you're not as in your head as much, you're not thinking so much. There are references of different religions. Jesus Christ, capoeira circles often took part after Sunday's church. A very uneven social interactions, even outside the capoeira circle. All the moves, the songs, and different terms used in the classes are in a different language. Some people don't feel comfortable. Hierarchy, slave owners, their rituals, uniforms, trying to create more organized looking structure to capoeira so it will be even easier to present it to the public, because in the past capoeira was very... I see many people refer to capoeira as a cult, or sometimes even as a remote group. On one hand, it's true that capoeira shares similarities with cult, given it has a very strong connections with tradition. It's common to see people gathering in a big group with people playing capoeira-specific music on the berimbau and such. Yet, on the other hand, cults usually have closed doors and it's very hard for people to get into them, whilst capoeira is the complete opposite. It's open for anybody and it has no restriction. Answering this question is pretty complicated, but I believe that I came up with a pretty simple answer, and I'll be showing you exactly why this is the correct answer. Something very interesting that's been going on in the later years, I've seen a lot of women get into capoeira, and some capoeira circles or classes that I've been to, I've seen about a 50% ratio of equal men to women participating. And that is so good for capoeira because it balances out the female and masculine energy in the circle. Did you know that capoeira has a secret handshake? Well, it's super common in Brazil that people of all ages add a fist bump to the high five. It's also pretty common for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What makes capoeira look like a cult has a lot to do with its music, because it's very tribal, using ancient instruments that comes from Africa. The most unique capoeira instrument, called the berimbau, usually held by the teacher or the master, the one who runs the ritual. In the singing, there are references of different religions, such as Christianity and Candomblé, which is the African religion. In the Candomblé, there are many saints. A saint for the war, a saint for the sea, and some people don't feel comfortable using these specific songs that reference those saints called orishas. Some songs reference Jesus Christ and Saint Maria, but it's not a real requirement to sing this song. If we're talking about Christianity, another thing that might look very strange to people from outside is people crossing before getting into playing capoeira. This comes from religious people that participate in capoeira, asking their own gods for protection before getting into a fight play situation. Back to the music. In capoeira, we also use the African drums called atabaque, and they're also used in the Candomblé religious practice. These drums' frequency or resonance tends to get people into a trance-like state where you can feel your body synchronizes together with the drums. That way you're not as in your head as much, you're not thinking so much, and you can act, play, and fight in accordance to your body. The mind's shut off and the body awakens. As for being a physical psychotherapist student, I've learned that we have 3 different brains, and one of them is called the limbic brain, which is more connected to our survival instinct. These drums help you connect back into your survival instincts and becoming a better, more present fighter. If you're just getting into capoeira or any other martial art that requires more than just using your feet, the most common problem that people have, that you're also mostly likely to experience, is that you'll have a very hard time coordinating your hands with other parts of your body. For example, you'll most likely have a problem timing your hand attacks to your kicks or takedowns, or you will have problems developing the right instincts for what to do next. To help you fix this or entirely avoid this problem, I've made a totally free guide that you can simply find in the description for this video. Try it and see for yourself how effective it is. Capoeira belts are another theme that we need to reconsider when talking about capoeira as a cult. Simply having a group of people with hierarchy might create a very uneven social interactions, even outside the capoeira circle, where a student doesn't understand that his teacher or his capoeira master is... I was saying that the capoeira master is just a simple, ordinary person like he is, and that might get him either to be afraid to create a connection and approach him in any sort of a conversation, or on the other hand, take what he's saying too seriously. At the end of the day, the capoeira master can teach you capoeira. If you ask him on any other subject that is not this field of expertise, just take what he's saying with a grain of salt and don't neglect your own opinion. Another cult-like and very common in capoeira is uniforms. There are many different colors. For each group its own. Some have some sort of a meaning to their colors, and for others it's just based on their favorite soccer team colors. But a lot of groups use white pants and white clothes because capoeira circles often took part after Sunday's church and everyone was already dressed in their white clothes. There came the notion that if you end up with any dirt on your clothes, either from getting kicked or from getting swept down, you need to work your capoeira skills. I believe the uniforms came from the necessity in trying to create more organized looking structure to capoeira, so it will be even easier to present it to the public, because in the past capoeira was very badly perceived by the high societies. It was perceived as a low society practice that was mostly by slaves that got free. Capoeira's history is coming out of the resistance of black people against their slave owners. So rightfully, it has a very freedom-seeking and rebellious spirit. As for practicing capoeira outside of Brazil, the Portuguese language becomes a very distinct feature of capoeira, where all the moves, the songs, and different terms used in the classes are in a different language than whatever language that's being spoken at that specific place. People not easily understanding what's being said by capoeiristas might get them feeling that they're not a part of that remote group. But if you get the chance, approach any capoeira practitioner and you'll find that capoeira does so much good and brings so much positivity into their life, physically and mentally. Being part of this remote group is actually a good thing. If you still doubt that capoeira has a lot to bring into martial artists and MMA fighters, check out this video where Joe Rogan and a UFC fighter answers the question, does capoeira work for MMA?